Report with Alex Mahajer for Haps News, the network of now. It is Thursday, November 5th, and we are still on election 2020 watch. The presidential race has come down to just a few states with votes still being counted, and the president calling for the votes to stop being counted in a flagrant affront to democracy. Joining me this morning will be Jason Carter. He's a journalist also on the Haps platform from Florida to talk about what happened in his state. I'm very mad at him. So we're going to have a talking to about that and all of this and more on the AM Report. All right, thanks everybody for joining the broadcast this morning. It is Thursday, and the first being candidate. I'll be joined in just a moment by Jason Carter. He's a journalist, and he's coming to us live from Florida. But first, a few of this morning's headlines. With 264 electoral votes, according to the Associated Press, Biden is closing in on the presidency. Arizona, which some say is still too close to call, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and North Carolina are still counting votes. The Trump campaign has filed lawsuits in Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Georgia in the hopes of stopping the vote counts using baseless claims of voter fraud. I'll note that if the votes were to stop being counted today, that Joe Biden would win the presidency with the Nevada's 6 electoral college votes. So I'm not sure that his strategy really makes sense, but we will continue to await these results. The Georgia race has come within 18,000 votes as these votes are coming in from Fulton County in Georgia. 1,616 Americans died yesterday from COVID-19, demarcating the largest death toll in a single day since the outset of the pandemic. Perhaps Donald Trump would like to stop this count. I'm not sure, but get on it, Mr. President. You've got maybe a couple months left. At 72 million votes nationwide, Joe Biden has broken Obama's record for winning the most votes in a presidential election in history, and he now leads Trump in the popular vote by 2.4% and 3.5 million. So we will continue to watch that race, but here with me this morning to talk about the state of the race and what's going on is Jason Carter, journalist extraordinaire and also a fellow Haps journalist. Good morning.
Alex, good morning. Great to be here with you. I love how you use the term flagrant in regards to Trump's wild lawsuits that are now being just hurled everywhere, except in states where he's winning, right? Except for states where he's taken the cake. But Florida, yes, a huge battleground state, of course, in the union. 29 electoral votes went to Trump. Miami-Dade County, which is Florida's most populous county in the state, was very blue. But Trump's team knew what they had to do to win the state, and that is connecting with people in rural areas of Florida where the American dream rings true, and they wanted to hear the rhetoric that Trump was spitting that unfortunately the Biden campaign didn't have good footing on initially before the American citizens went to the polls.
Jason, we are going to pull up the electoral map right now, and right now 264 electoral votes for Joe Biden. And significantly less for Donald Trump. The path to victory for Donald Trump has been significantly narrowing as these counts have been coming in. I'll note that with 264 electoral college votes, Joe Biden only needs the state of Nevada now to win the presidency, which has 6 electoral college votes. That is a very close race, but that everyone who pollsters and internal polling would suggest that Joe Biden has won that state. So it turns out that the Florida wasn't needed. It all came down to the Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, the Rust Belt. But Democrats are really disappointed that Florida didn't flip. And in fact, it appears Donald Trump expanded his electorate, which is sort of surprising. It was surprising to me, given everything that the country's been through for the last 4 years. So what can you explain that? Like, what's going on? Is Florida just a red state now? Did we misassess Florida as being a swing state?
A swing state is exactly what Florida has been known to be, Alex. It's a great question. I think we absolutely misassessed that. AOC had a tweet that was like that. I think spoke to that as well. That hey, the Dems just didn't do a good job here in Florida of covering ground and really attacking and approaching the Hispanic vote, because that's what we know, especially in southern Florida. Huge Hispanic population, Cubans, Dominicans, Nicaraguans, who have, for some, are immigrants, which was really interesting because for the last 4 years, who has Trump really been attacking, right? Is the immigrants that are trying to come to this country for the American dream. But conservative Hispanics feel that Trump is building on the American dream and why they are here. So it's a weird phenomenon, a very weird phenomenon, but that's what he did. He talked to those communities also, as well as the conservative Jewish community here in Florida, in regards to initiatives and really painting the Democratic Party in a bad light, saying that they were against reopening the country amidst a pandemic, that they really weren't here for I would say the well-being of the country. And that spoke to the Hispanic population that is conservative in southern Florida. Now, Miami-Dade County, huge, as well as Broward County, those were all blue for Biden. But as I said earlier, it's the rest of the state that Trump really got a handle on and really went door to door and had boots on the ground earlier, preaching that rhetoric that really proselytized those people to believe that, hey, Trump is what's going to be good, not only for the state, but for the country. So your question is Florida now a purely red state? Well, of course, it appears to be. Trump did take the 29 electoral votes, but that doesn't mean that people here in the populous counties of Florida were not in favor of Biden. So, but as you said, hey, obviously Biden didn't need it, and here's hoping that he will sweep Nevada and he will go on to be the 46th in the White House.
Yeah, and before we go on, we got a lot of comments this morning, a lot of people chiming in. I want to just touch base with them. Lucia, is he going to sue every single voter? When you sue to stop the votes, it's such an affront to democracy that you're really suing every American at that point. So you've been served, America. The president does not want your votes to be counted. She gave us a Runs on Coffee award. If you're watching this on the Haps platform or the Haps app, very nifty new feature. You can give us an award midstream. Let Jason and I know what you're thinking. It'll pop up on screen, or leave us a comment. Let us know what your thoughts are, and we'll bat around with you. Jen says, of course, typical Trump. Mackenzie from London. Hello, Mackenzie, a dear friend. On Reddit, we've got FanFox saying Georgia is for sure going to flip. So is Pennsylvania. Let's talk about Georgia for just a second. So Jason, this electoral map that you're looking at, Arizona has been called, although the race has been tightening ever so slightly as the late counts have been coming in. But the AP has projected that Joe Biden has won Arizona, flipping that state, putting him at 264. Georgia, unexpected. Early on, people thought swing state. Then the early counts on Tuesday night suggested that it was a blowout victory. And now, as the absentee ballots in Fulton County and the more liberal counties are coming in very last, they're the last to be counted, Joe Biden has been digging into Donald Trump's lead significantly. It's gone from a 300,000 vote lead by Trump yesterday at noon to this morning being under 20,000, with about 1% of precincts left to report. So pretty wild. So if Georgia flips, that's going to be the race. And Pennsylvania, of course, is expected to go for Joe Biden, although we don't have definitive numbers out of Pennsylvania yet. So what do you think about this new electoral map? And when do you think we'll be able to claim a victory definitively for Joe Biden?
That is the question of 2020, in addition to when will COVID be over, right, Alex? Those are the questions that are on everyone's lips. Georgia won, Fulton County, of course, Atlanta, huge Black population, right? When I was talking to some of the Black voters here in Miami, one of the things that was really very important to him was Blackness in general, being seen as worthy of the American dream. And I keep saying the American dream because I think now more than ever, people are wanting to get back to some type of normalcy. A lot of people's lives have been upended by COVID. Financial stability is out the door. people don't know what the future holds. So they're looking for someone who can at least give them a glimmer of hope. Atlanta is this beacon of blackness, affluent blackness, and then also different types of black communities. So I think if it does flip for Biden, that's a good thing. And as you said, he'll be able to call it. To your question of when will we know? I'm hoping at least by Friday. But then also we have to also remember that there's a lot of absentee votes and other votes that are still being counted. So this could drag on for weeks, if not another month, honestly.
And you'll find me hanging in a coat closet if this goes on for weeks. But I got to say, I love you, Hawaii. Hilarious comment. I'll be bumping Outcast all day if Georgia flips blue. Let's go, Georgia. I'll note the Georgia Democratic Party has requested volunteers. They put out an emergency request for volunteers because the state has allowed for voters whose ballots have some sort of issue with them that need to be cured. They have until tomorrow evening to cure their ballots, which they're absentee ballots. So the Georgia Democratic Party is calling for volunteers to phone bank and text bank Georgia voters who have issues with their absentee ballots to make sure that those ballots are counted. So if anyone's interested in that activism, get involved. Let's talk about the Senate race that the Democrats had hoped to take back the United States Senate. And there were a lot of paths to do that. But as we see, this was not the nationwide repudiation of Trump that Democrats had hoped. This wasn't the nationwide repudiation of Trump that Democrats had hoped it would be. And with that, the Senate has not been taken. There is a slim path for the Senate. There is a slim path for Democrats to take the Senate, but that's going to go through Georgia. So let's talk about the Georgia Senate races. There's two Democrats who are aiming to flip the two Republican Senate seats. That's Jon Ossoff looking to unseat David Perdue, and Reverend Ralph Warnock looking to unseat Kelly Loeffler. I think I got those reversed. Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue, the Republican senators. So those races, if the Republicans in those races get less than 50% of the vote, then the Democrats will take them into a special runoff election in January. Those two races will be incredibly important to flipping control of the Senate. And what are your thoughts on the U.S. Senate? And let's assume that Joe Biden is able to claim victory and doesn't take the U.S. Senate. Is this just another 4 years of gridlock ahead of the country?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. I think it absolutely is, because I mean I liken the Senate to like the political Young and the Restless, right? All the drama that goes on in the Senate, which is the presidency is just like, okay, we're gonna put that to the side in that episode, but the Senate's full of drama. But I do think it will be another gridlock for 4 years if they don't take the House. All will be revealed. I can't even, Alex. All due respect, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this presidency, let alone to even start thinking about the Senate. It's the most anxiety-inducing occurrence in like my 41 years on this planet that I've ever been to. But again, who knows? It's anyone's bag, and I honestly, I don't know. I don't know, honestly.
I don't know is a perfectly acceptable answer in the age of Trump. I don't know why this was so close. Christopher Drago commented that it didn't turn out to be a blue wave, and that is disappointing, especially all of the organizing and the groundwork that's been laid by activists and by Democrats who have been working towards this moment for years. It's altogether a shock that it's so close, but. Right. Let's stay tuned to this space. Hopefully you're right. We'll have answers before the end of the week. We'll be able to call Joe Biden president-elect when Pennsylvania flips, which should be any moment. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. Let's keep an eye on it. So Pablo De La Hoya says, when you get out the vote, you get out the vote for both sides. Maybe that's true, Pablo. And we do want people to vote. So altogether, the one great piece of news here is that American democracy has the potential to really thrive assuming the president doesn't circumvent our will. This is the largest turnout in a century. So, that is the good news.
Well,
Yeah.
that's great. The largest turnout in a century. I'm glad you hit on that because never in my life have I seen so many people mobilize and galvanize to vote. Right. When I was out here in Miami, just the energy of the community and the conversations they were having, and just the togetherness of importance of why they needed to be voting was exponentially more than I've seen in previous elections. And so I think, if 2020 has taught us anything, is that anything can happen. And I'm glad that the conversation of voting was of the utmost importance this year because, growing up, we had Rock the Vote. You had a lot of different initiatives to really highlight voting, but never before has there been a dire need to vote than in 2020. So, hey, some people say they're not proud to be American. I would say I've never been more prouder to be an American now than in 2020, and with the option and the opportunity to exercise my American right to vote.
Here, and we'll leave it on that really beautiful note. This has been Jason Carter, journalist and fellow HAPS journalist. Jason, where can people find you and support your program?
You can find me here on HAPS TV at Jason Carter. Also follow me on Instagram at Jason Carter Official. And Alex, thank you for all the good work you do. Killing it every single morning. It's been a pleasure being on the AM Report with you.
Oh, thank you so much. This has been the AM Report for HAPS News, the network of Now. I'm Alex Mahajer. We are live every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern, with all of your quick political news and headlines to get your day started right. If you like this content, please consider sponsoring it. Visit me at haps.tv/@Alex and buy me a cup of coffee, or you can give us an award midstream here. Let us know what your thoughts are and whether you like the program. That's always appreciated too. We will see you all tomorrow morning. Friday morning, we'll be joined by Miranda Yaver, constitutional scholar and political scientist, to see if we've got an election result yet. We'll see